So do you think that you've missed the boat with investing? I don't think you have, but even in your 30s, 40s, or even your 50s, without any savings, I do believe you have some time here. Now, before we go on, if you can hit that subscribe button, it'll mean an awful lot. There's about 78% of people who watch my channel are not actually subscribed. That will help this channel massively. But I want to talk about this woman. I know, we're going on one of those little tangents. Georgie Frost, she is a well-known TV presenter. She's been on, obviously, This Is Money podcast, BBC broadcaster, keynote speaker, the lot. Let me kind of go through this. Now, I was on YouTube the other night and I spotted a podcast and I started watching it and I got involved in the story a little bit because I think everyone's got a different story. But on the screen, you can see she suffered a major setback with a back injury, struggled to walk and obviously work. That's a big problem if you're trying to build any sort of wealth or even live day-to-day life. But lack of financial engagement at the time, she struggled with debt for a number of years. Turns out, roughly my sort of age, mid-30s, she had very, very limited funds in a pension and didn't have any savings. But now when you look at her overall career, as I say, she's came over all that situation, just got down to it and started stuff. And I think for some people, they just need to kind of like open their eyes a little bit and go, right, I need to just sort this out and just do it. And that's what's mental, because even though what you could argue as a potential weakness in someone's personality, that they may be a bad money manager or they made wrong decisions, or maybe they have had an issue where something's gone really horrible against them, which is under, not under their control, so to speak. But when you think about how she now, in my viewpoint, can talk about certain things in a certain way that will help people financially. You can talk about so many different people about this. But I think that in the financial world, and I think in the content creation world, sometimes you need that experience for people to listen to. And I think that is a pretty good story. So in terms of the big element of, is it too late to start investing? Well, in her situation, you would have thought that would have been the last thing on her mind. But look at where she's got to. But as I say, many people do feel left behind, and they look at successful investors. Look at Warren Buffett, for example, starting at 11 years old and obviously buying real estate at the age of 14. Obviously, times have obviously changed since those periods. And obviously, yes, financial backing and certain things around that would have been a massive, massive element. But as I say, everyone is different. Now, let's talk about some random myth-busting stuff about, is it too late to invest sort of thing, right? But you got to look at the obvious in the room. Is it too late? And that's the element, right? People live for longer. This means maybe you might be, wasting away some of your actual decent years, especially before retirement. Now, even if you're in your 30s, 40s, as I say, 50s, you are expected to work for longer. You are also probably going to live for longer. And I know there's a big degree of luck there, and you need to be lucky in life to get certain situations playing on your side, because yes, one fall off a ladder, one situation, one trip, one whatever could really change your entire outlook on life. But that's just the situation it is. That is unfortunately life. Now, the whole world of compounding, you've got to start it at some point. A lot of people look at the world of compounding as a bit of a, oh, what's the point sort of situation. But ultimately, you've got to start somewhere. Look at myself here. You're going to start noticing in 2 or 3 years as me creating content, this will start progressively rising and rising. Doesn't just work after 40 years. Realistically, it starts after 10 or 20 years, which is obviously a lot better for some people. Even if it is in a stocks and shares ISA, guess what? It's tax-free. You could earn some extra income. You could maybe retire a bit early or invest more elsewhere and be able to get your finances on track. And another little myth buster is multiple careers are somewhat the norm. Look at content creators. Look at how many people have side hustles, right? How many people change careers nowadays? This world is very different to the past. So it's not too late to try something new. It's not too late to maybe get a better career and maybe earn a bit more income. It's just the way it is. Unfortunately, for some people, they don't want to. That's fine. But some people do. And you shouldn't be put off by that. I mean, myself included, like when I grew up, I didn't think, right, for 1 minute, I'd be working in finance. I have dyscalculia. I read numbers back to front. I am terrible at maths. I'm horrendous. I failed maths completely in school. That isn't a thing for you to feel sorry about. It's just the way it is. But I like investing. I like money. Yes, obviously, I can create videos and I can talk about it, but that's from experience. But even then, I was in the Air Force. I was in the police, actually, in the Air Force. And then now, look what's happened. It's a bit of a crazy turnaround. I've been doing this for almost a decade, which is boggling. So, some practical advice and speaking from experience, and you've got to do this. It's kind of like 4 steps, really, in terms of if you really want to start and if you really want to get your head in the game. And the one thing that I will say before I go through the entire steps is the fact of investing is a way of life. It isn't just a thing that you do as a bit of a hobby. You've got to treat it seriously, treat it like an absolute business, because if you don't treat it like a business, it's going to be shite. So, just be mindful of that. Now, let's talk about it. Step number one. Education first. Invest in yourself. Education, new skills, implying any sort of new knowledge of how money works, why you should pay yourself first, and more importantly, why you should be looking at your overall finances is king. It doesn't take long to learn this basic stuff. Go on YouTube, put in how money works. There's books on my shelf. Psychology of Money is brilliant as well. There's so much literature out there for you to even listen to on a dog walk or with podcasts, whatever it may be, will sort of make you think, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I should do that. And then over time, it will get easier and easier and easier, certainly when you understand the basics. Step 2 and 3, it depends on your life, but you may want to do one or the other first, right? Let's talk about it, what I would do. You need to try and balance debt first. Viewpoint, obviously. Look at what is a good debt. Look at what is a bad debt, i.e., what has the highest interest rate, what has the most credit or whatever that you need to pay off. If it's stupid interest rates, you need to focus on getting rid of that first. Clear that as quickly as you possibly can. If it's zero or low interest, you don't have to worry too much about that because you've got a bit more saving grace. But the thing is, like, a mortgage is a good debt. Appreciation of your house eventually rises and rises, but also the interest rates are relatively low, okay? But as I say, if you've got a credit card that's like spilling out of all kinds of ears, get rid of it. Now, step 3, once you are in a position to do that, obviously have an emergency fund and stuff like that. But more importantly, the situation is automate and simplify. Automate it like a bill. I've said this so many times on my videos before. Don't let it rot in terms of just cash sitting there. You've got to make it go to work and use a low cost index fund. Keep it simple. And I'm not going to go through the full mechanics here. But is it too late to start investing? No, because those ETFs traditionally over time track the market. They go up as the market goes up. And over time, if you zoom out and you look at the market, they are doing pretty well. If you are looking from a time horizon of a longer term point, you will do all right, okay? Put it in a stocks and shares ISA, for example. There's links below to them if you're interested. But more importantly, even if you've got a pension, a SIP, look at automating it. Make sure that you've budgeted for the month and you put money away as you can every single month and automate it. So it just does it. It keeps it super simple, because if it is too late for you, well, one way to kind of make it so it's not is actually just start and just do it and see what happens. Now, number 4 is kind of like going back in time a little bit. Purpose and mindset. You've got to treat it correctly. Your money should really match your life values, not someone else's. You need to kind of have a situation where you are taking control of that, and it is your research, your choice, your whatever way you want to do it. Whether it is owning your own house or renting, for example, whether it is a pension or an ISA, for example, or the flexibility of both. If it is certain ETFs in terms of, is it the NASDAQ or is it the S&P 500 or is it the All World Fund or whatever it may be, it's entirely up to you. You need to have a goal of what you want to achieve and how you want to make your money work. There's no point just sitting in a low interest savings account for you to potentially blow it or spend it. If you move it away, there's less likelihood of you finding a new shiny object to buy, and then that's it, your money's gone. But as well, you could talk about the reassurance of this and reframing it a little bit for you. Even if you feel that you're behind, you might actually be in a much, much better position financially to go, you know what, I can do this. I can do this. I don't have any debt. I can invest freely. I've got spare capital and I can probably do much better than what I would have done maybe in my 20s or even in my 30s. That again is another situation where you can go, you know what, I've got 20 years of my life or 25 years, whatever, and really hammer this home. And it could be changing your entire outlook of retirement, but you just got to start it realistically, right? Now, even as a random example, £500 a month from, your 40s to your 60s, which could be, 20 odd years, could be 300 to 400,000 pounds just sitting there in returns over the course of the compounding effect. That could be a quicker retirement for a lot of people. That could allow you to kind of do more things in life and even work less. It just makes sense to kind of give it a go at least. Because, as I say, if you are in a better financial position, if you are at a later life stage, what would you rather do? Save the money, spend the money, or would you rather save the money, invest the money? I'd probably go with the latter, to be honest with you. Now, obviously, none of this is financial advice. I'm just talking from somewhat experience, but I seem to get asked this question an awful lot about, probably a bit too late. And even like people that I know who've never even touched an investment broker before, like, well, what the hell do I do? Why should I do it? And I think a lot of people just look at people and go, oh, wow, they've done it for a long time. It looks amazing. But ultimately, you can catch up, myself included. I haven't been investing in dividends that long. I've got a decent portfolio already. I've been in crypto most of my investment career. And that has paid off massively. And even people talking about that side of the market are like, oh my God, should I buy a Bitcoin? Well, it depends on you. It depends on what your time horizon, what your research suggests. Same with the ETFs. Should you buy ETFs, for example, at the all-time highs, certainly the S&P or the Nasdaq, whatever? Everyone's different, but hey, it is what it is, unfortunately. And at the same time, there would have been someone 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, buying probably at all-time highs. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But the first thing that I would say is just absolutely educate yourself. There's a playlist here for you to watch. Go through it.